To get better at guitar, like all music teachers and musicians will tell you to practice your scales. And that can often lead you to like go buy a book and just start memorizing all the scales, which is pretty much what I did and a lot of people do. But then you start to get a little sick of it because it's like it's hard to know what's really important. So you also hear musicians talk about the major scale, and I find if you learn these two major scale patterns and really learn them well while learning other scales and other things, or just if you just prefer to learn songs and not really worry about scales and triads and kind of learning all the patterns moving around. If you learn these two major scales, it will really help you. So the first one, I'm going to do it here on the 5th fret, is a 6th, you start on the 6th string, so I consider it the 6th string major scale. So it's going to start here, and the other pattern is going to start on the 5th string. So the reason why it's important to realize what string it's starting on is that's where the root note is of the scale. And also later you can use it for chord construction. And I have some music theory videos I'll put some links to here. Or you can look on my channel for guitar theory videos, and I talk about kind of like scale tones and what all this stuff means. So here's the first pattern. You want to go middle finger on 5, pinky on 7, then you first finger on 4. This is an A major scale, middle finger on 5, pinky on 7, first finger on 4, third finger on 6, pinky on 7, then you keep going. We just got to the octave of A. Keep going, 4, 4th fret, 6th fret with your ring finger, pinky on 7, middle finger on 5, pinky on 7, first finger on 4, and middle finger on 5. There's one more note in this pattern that's right here. But if you play it, you want to come back to here. And you go backwards, so 7, 5, 4, 7, then middle finger on 5. There's only 2 notes on that string. Pinky on 7, 6, 4, 5, 6, 4, 7, 5, 4, 7, 5. And there's one extra note right here in the pattern. But you want to get back to this note. So when you're learning this scale, you want to actually memorize it and get to the point where you can just play it. So it sounds like this. Here's the root note. There's a root note. So I'm going to play it again and listen for the root notes. So root note. There's a root note. Backwards. So that's an A major scale. What's cool about this pattern though is once you got it, you can move it wherever you want. So like, that's C major. Move down here. G major. It's really useful. It's hard to understate how useful this pattern is because you're going to start to see it everywhere. The next pattern is based on the 5th string. It's a little different. There's actually notes below it, but I'm not even going to talk about them. So just, you want to think of this as 5th string major scale, because it starts on the root note's going to start here. So this note is D, A, B, C, D. So you're going to go. I'm trying to think how I use this one a little different. You know what? This one, the upper notes don't matter as much, so I'm going to just try to keep it practical. Because this one, like, you do use all the notes, this, like this note, I don't ever think about. So what I'm going to do is just, the scale that's real important here is just this. I would memorize this. Just that small pattern, which is actually going to be the exact same as the beginning of this. So I wouldn't worry about it. Like, I had to think about that because I don't really use that pattern in that way. So I would just do this. It should be easy now because it's the same as this. So here we go. 5. This is 5th string. 7. First finger on 4. Middle finger on 5. Pinky on 7. First finger on 4. Third finger on 6. Pinky. And then backwards. And then you can move this pattern around wherever you want. This was D. You can move it on to F. You can move it down to B. You can't go. You could go there actually, but it gets awkward. Move down here, 4th fret. So you can actually move this wherever you want. You can't move it up here. Listen to what happens. It doesn't sound right because you can't cross over here. So don't worry about that. So there's the 2 patterns is this one. And then this one. If you learn those 2 major patterns, it's pretty amazing how much stuff will start to make sense. Especially if you're, a good way to get better at guitar fast is to just hang out with guitarists who are good. So that sort of sounds obvious, but if you have friends who are good, go hang out with them. Or it's worth getting a teacher just to be around someone who's good and can really show you, like, explain what they're thinking about and what's important. But those 2 major scales, like, after a lot of years, those are the 2 patterns that have just stayed with me and are really useful, aside from the pentatonic, and then some other kind of smaller patterns, which I could talk about later. So I hope this was helpful. If anyone has any lesson requests or wants to know sort of about practical music theory, or just want some advice on how to play guitar from someone with more experience, let me know. And I'm not a professional or an expert, but I have taught like hundreds of people, and I've been around really advanced guitarists and picked their brains. And I've written like a ton of songs myself, which is a good way to really learn about music. So that's it. Bye.